Wednesday night. It is, I love Chicago. You like Chicago?
I love Chicago. We were there about 2 years ago. It's literally probably my favorite city I've ever been to, honestly.
Yeah, it's a great town, and they're a great band. I've seen them like 15 times. So, yeah, I'm a groupie. You know what I mean? But anyways, hey, joining us now on the Trophy Michael Show, our Mr. Everything Mixed Martial Arts, Tony Reid, is in the house.
Hello. How's everyone doing out there?
Let's hope they're doing well. So we were just talking about, because there's a lot going on in mixed martial arts.
That's the thing. There's never an off-season MMA. There's always a lot going on in MMA. There's no downtime. There's no off-season. It's year-round. There's always, as it's growing, there's more and more events, so it's almost every weekend now.
Yeah, well, and we just came off of, which we were just talking about, we just came off of UFC 153,
yep,
which was in Brazil.
It was.
And you were telling me about, it almost didn't happen, but then it did.
Yeah, Anderson Silva kind of stepped in again to take the reins and kind of save the event, for lack of a better term. He was in there, and then Stephan Bonner kind of got a shot against him, which was had a lot of people scratching their heads, because Bonner, he said himself, he was in retirement. He said the only way he would come back would be for a huge fight, and he literally was in retirement and got the call to fight Anderson Silva. So friends and I were kind of like scratching our heads, like, how did they even get down the line to Bonner to fight Anderson Silva? Because Anderson Silva's the greatest mixed martial arts fighter ever, #1 guy. Yeah. You know, he's held on a pedestal that very few guys probably will ever attain. And Bonner's just kind of like I don't want to say journeyman. I don't want to put him in that category, but pretty close at this point. And everybody's like, how in the heck did they get down the list so far to get to Bonner to fight Anderson Silva? But it turned out Bonner came game. He's a game fighter. He's a scrapper. He's just going to move forward and be throwing punches and kicks and trying to make it gritty and grimy and ugly if he has to. If he's not bleeding, you know, he's not fighting. He's bleeding before the ref says fight. You know, he's one of those guys. So he got in there. He put it this way. By the end of the first round, Anderson Silva ended the fight. He hit Bonner with a knee, kind of the solar plexus area, and in Bonner's words, it actually paralyzed him for a second. Which, if you know anything about the fight game, there are certain shots that can definitely put you out for a few seconds, and then the guys, you know, Anderson pounced on him, finished on the ground with punches, and the fight was stopped by the end of the first round. So,
right, yeah, I
which is kind of how I think most people would have seen it going anyway, to be quite honest. But it is what it is. Yeah. Now
there was also, as I'm reading here, there was also kind of what they called a co-main event that went along with the Anderson Silva fight.
There were a few good fights. Antonio Minotauro Nogueira fought Dave Herman. There was kind of a humorous thing about the Herman fight. Herman had a quote a few years ago, I don't know exactly how many years, probably a few years back, where he said jiu-jitsu doesn't work on him. And that's insanity. It's like saying getting punched and kicked doesn't hurt you, it doesn't work on you. Like, there's a human body and there's certain movements that are going to work on you.
It hurts.
He was shown that, yes, in fact, jiu-jitsu does work on him. He was submitted by armbar by one of the greatest ground heavyweights ever. Nogueira's a legend. He's one of those kind of like guys, almost a mythical creature at this point. He's been around so long. He's kind of aging now, but he's one of those legendary guys that every hardcore fan loves. And he submitted Herman with jiu-jitsu, which apparently before the fight didn't work on Herman, but apparently
it does now.
It does.
Yeah, it does now.
He does have joints and limbs, and it tends to work on people with joints and limbs and necks and whatnot.
Yeah. It's funny how that thing kind of works, you know.
Yeah.
So okay, so that was UFC 153, which was this past Saturday night. And just announced, I think this was either yesterday or today, the fight card for UFC 154, which is November 17th in Montreal, Canada.
Yes.
And the feature battle is
GSP and Carlos Condit. GSP's in his home. He's basically in his home stadium, on his home field, fighting in Canada. He's from Canada, Montreal area. Grew up there. He's kind of like Canada's native son, the guy that every Canadian loves, and he's an awesome guy. Says the right things, does the right things. He's been the champ for an extended period of time now, and he's just one of the good guys in the sport. And Canada loves him, the States love him, the world loves him. So when he fights at home, the crowds they get there are unbelievable. Dana White, the president of the UFC, even said that the crowds there are like you've never seen or heard before. It's just Canada's really passionate about the sport, and to see him fight for the title again there is going to be fantastic. He was out with an injury. Carlos Condit won the interim championship, so GSP's kind of on his way back. It'll be his first fight back, so you never know coming off something like that. If I was a betting man, I'd still go GSP. In a sense, he tends to play it safe sometimes. He'll keep his distance. He'll jab and 1-2, 1-2, and get in there, take a guy down, and kind of control him on the ground for the most part. So he's kind of had that reputation playing it safe, and I kind of see it going that route. If Condit can keep it on the feet, he'll have a reach advantage, he'll have a height advantage, and he's an excellent striker. So if it stays standing, Condit has a very good chance if it goes to the ground. Not that Condit's bad, but I think GSP will kind of null Condit's game, and it'll kind of be one of those grind out. 15 or 25-minute fights where it's kind of like, okay,
okay, let's end this already.
We've seen enough of the ground game.
Yeah, really. Any other matches on the card that you like for 154?
On 154, Martin Kampmann's fighting Johnny Hendricks, which I think is going to be a fantastic fight. I'm a big fan of Hendricks. Kampmann is one of the most game guys out there. It's like he almost has to take a round or two of a beating to kind of realize he's in the fight. He's a great stand-up guy, like kickboxer, just Muay Thai stand-up guy. And Hendricks is a former national champion wrestler, all-American wrestler, and he has hands that, I mean, he knocks people silly with one punch. So he has the good combination of having heavy hands and a ground game. He can dictate where the fight goes. I'm really looking forward to that as much as the main event, honestly.
Good. So that's 154. That's November 17th, and it's in Montreal, Canada.
There's also a card in the meantime, the weekend before. It's November, I believe it's the 10th. It's going to be the first UFC event in China.
Okay.
Rich Franklin's fighting Kung Lee, which is going to be Kung Lee. The UFC lately has tended to fill a card with guys from the home country. Like if they're in Canada a lot, it's a Canada heavy card. They're going to be in China, so it's a China heavy card. They go to Brazil heavy card. It seems like almost like they're having a home team against the States or other parts of the world. So they're going to be doing that card. In all honesty, nothing's blowing my mind. But the Rich Franklin Kung Lee fight will be interesting. It'll be a fun fight. Rich Franklin, another one of those guys, has been around forever, a legend. Kung Lee's kind of like the crazy Shan Shao, crazy kicks and punch guy, and he's coming from all angles. So it'll be a fun fight.
So that's the weekend before.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that on FX or on Fox, they're going to have like a 2-hour warm-up, which is available to everybody before the pay-per-view event for UFC 154.
They've been doing that a lot lately. They'll actually start on Facebook, do like an hour of prelims on Facebook. They'll move to FX for maybe, like you said, 2 hours, and then kind of leading up to the pay-per-view or the main card, basically, for lack of a better term. Yeah. Right. Which is always nice. I mean, if you can get to watch free fights. Well, the guys you're watching on those undercards are going to be the champions of the future. Those are going to be the guys, the household names in 3, 4, 5 years. And so it's just fun to see those guys. And they're kind of growing the fan bases of those guys by showing them on national, international TV. It works. It's a good thing all around for everyone involved, really.
And it's free.
There's nothing better than free, I don't think.
F4EE, my friend, So we got all the UFC stuff taken care of. And I wanted to talk about this, too, because I know the last time you were on the show, you had just taken over being the general manager of
Barbarian Combat Sports.
Yeah. So what's happening at the gym? Membership is up, and
it's up. It's funny because it's one of those things. Membership's up, but it's a grind. If you're in there day to day, if you're in there punching and kicking and grappling and wrestling, it's not for everyone. I'll be completely honest with you. It's for guys or women that want to get in there, that are tough, that have that dedication. I mean, we'll have people in and out. It's kind of like I said to one guy the other night, at the gym. It's almost like gypsies. Like you'll see people, then they'll be gone, then they'll come back, then they'll be gone. But I mean, we have a great foundation there. The building's great. Tim's obviously a top fighter in the world. He has a good staff, a good crew there of teachers and trainers, and we have a bunch of great people in and out all the time. Like I said, we have classes throughout the week. We have youth wrestling, which seems to be our biggest class right now. We have a bunch of kids we welcome kids from any school district. It's not, Shikellamy specific or, Selinsgrove specific. I mean, we can welcome kids from all over, learn a lot. Wade Fatul's generally the head wrestling coach there. And Wade's there. He's the superhuman, we call him. He's superhuman. He's still going strong at 54.
He's something, yeah. Wade was actually a little bit before my time, but, when I was at Shikellamy, that was right in the heyday of the state champions.
My dad and him were actually classmates.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well, like the 83 and the 84 and 85, that was like around the time I graduated with, and with Balestrini Wallace and all those guys. And the one year they went to the state championship with 8 guys, and they actually won the team championship because they just had more guys than everybody. So Wade's been around for a long time, and I know you'd said about the last time we had talked, that you were getting some classes rolling and stuff, and of course your wife's here, and you said she was going to start teaching a kickboxing class.
We started it last night, actually. She kind of got thrown into the wolves, and we're going to go from there, and she's going to go do an awesome job.
Well, it doesn't look like anybody kickboxed or anything. She's still standing, so, you know.
See, she's the teacher, she's the trainer.
Well, yeah, you know, sometimes accidents happen.
Actually, and here's the funny thing, like, for people that are fans of the sport, we were in there in the middle of kickboxing class. It was kind of going, it kind of wasn't going. Tim's there, he's, you know, running the elliptical, he's trying to cut some weight a little bit, just to get a sweat going. All of a sudden, there's like 10 minutes left in the class, he's like, all right, we're going hard these last 10 minutes. And he had us going hard, hitting bags hard, like we were going hard. So it's just one of those fun things to be a part of. You never know. I mean, it's just an exciting time in the sport, and exciting to have something like that so close to home. It's just an awesome thing. We have a schedule Monday through Friday. We'll have open mats on weekends. We're going to be as flexible as possible to get, you know, enrollment up or different classes. If we see a need in a certain area, we're going to fill it for sure.
So what's up with Tim?
He's just kind of hanging out right now, staying in the gym, teaching class, you know, getting in shape, and he's going to be heading out, I would say probably 6 weeks or so to Washington. He goes out there right before to, I mean, not that he's not serious now, but to get super serious leading up to a fight. He trains with Matt Hume in Kirkland, Washington. It's right outside of Seattle, one of the best camps in the world. Matt Hume, easily one of the top 2 or 3 trainers in the entire sport. And he doesn't take a lot of guys on, so it says something that Tim's in that group. I mean, there have been superstars, names that I could easily throw out there that Hume's actually turned away. Like, he doesn't want, he's not one of those guys that's going to be like a super gym or super camp. He believes in certain guys, and he sticks with those guys. So I think that says a lot for Tim. He's going to be heading out there, I'd say, about 6 weeks out. He's going to go on a little hunting trip before that. But he's a big game hunter.
This is the place to do it, you know? Yeah, if you're going to hunt, you know, this is definitely the place to do it.
They actually have a ranch outside in Colorado, and they go, like, big game. Elk.
Yeah, I've had some friends who've done that. A buddy of mine, one year he came back with a moose, a caribou, and a bear. So he had to build an addition onto his house so he could get them all stuffed and keep them, you know? That's like big game hunting, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I want to get to one more thing before we let you go, because you were kind enough this morning to post something on your Facebook page that you were going to be on my show today and ask for some questions, and you did get one. And I don't know if you want to address that real quick.
Yeah, I actually wrote a blog if you want to hear me really, you know, yammer about this topic. But
yammer?
Yeah, it's just if your heart's in it, you just get, you know, certain times you just have to like just let it out and kind of one of those things. But I'll cover. I just threw out on Facebook today that we were going to be on the show, and if anyone had any questions, feel free to message or, you know, post. And I'm saying this is probably going to be the farthest distance that we've ever had a question from. It's actually Andrew Armstrong. He's from Ringwood, Victoria, Australia.
Australia?
If you get farther than that, let me know. But that question's coming from
that's pretty darn impressive. You know, we've gone international here on the Trophy Michael Show, you know.
Absolutely. So his question was, how did Chael Sonnen get to be in the position that he's in? Don't get me wrong. I think the sport needs guys like him, but I don't get it. I think he would make a better politician than a fighter. He talks so much stuff. So Chael Sonnen definitely does talk stuff. Like I said, I posted a blog about this. What the question is referring to is light heavyweight champion John Jones and Chael Sonnen they were announced as the next coaches of the Ultimate Fighter. It's going to be season 17. Following that season, they're going to fight for the title, John Jones' title at 205 on April 27th of next year.
Right.
Chael Sonnen has talked his way into a lot of things.
Obviously.
I'm a fan. I've met him personally. He's one of the nicest guys ever, don't get me wrong. But it's almost gotten to the pro wrestling act level of things. With
you mean pro wrestling's not real?
I don't think so. It's kind of like, I was told that Santa wasn't real and pro wrestling.
Yeah, but Santa.
Year,
yeah, but
so.
Santa is. So you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So he talked his way into it.
He talked his way into a title shot. And I don't think he believes half the stuff that comes out of his mouth, so the fans and people around him don't know what to believe. I just finished up his book. So anyhow, basically, he's coming off a loss in a title fight to Anderson Silva at middleweight. Somehow he jumped up to the next weight class and is fighting a guy for the title. He's never fought at that weight class, so people are just kind of up in arms about this. Or there's a lot of feedback going on, negative feedback. So it is what it is. He's going to get the title shot. I don't think it's going to go his way, but that's kind of the news of the day.
And there you have it.
Yeah.
Keep those questions coming on Facebook.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So, real quickly, want to tell people about your website?
Yeah. rattlingthecage.com, rattling-the-cage.com, reidfightwear.com, reid-fightwear.com.
And stop down at the gym and see the general manager.
322 Raspberry Ave in Sunbury. We recently moved. Please stop in and see us. We'll help you out and fulfill whatever your wildest dreams and needs are. We'll be there.
That's good stuff. Thanks, Tony. We appreciate it. He is Tony Reid, our MMA guru here on the Trophy Michael Show. And coming up next, we have got Penn State Associate Athletic Director for Men's Hockey, Joe Batista on the Trophy Medical Show, powered up by Brewers Outlet on ESPN Radio.